Chapter 3 Forms of Business Organizations. Forms of Business Organizations. Today we see different forms of business organizations. They may be classified into various types. They are sole trading concurrents, partnership firms, Hindu undivided family firms, cooperative societies, joint stocks companies. In this chapter, we learn briefly about the private-owned business organization such as sole trading concerns, partnership firms, and Hindu undivided family firms. Sole trading concerns. It is run by a single person. He is the owner and the manager. He enjoys all the profits and fully responsible for losses. He is the person who solely invests capital to run the business. Features. It is one of the oldest and simplest forms of business organizations. It is owned and managed by a single person. It is easy to start this kind of business. These concerns are run by the sole traders for profits. The sole trader uses his own skill and responsible for all the losses. Sole trader takes the help of his family members or appoints some workers to help him in business. Generally they are small in size, but nowadays they run on big scale also. Advantages of sole trading concerns. No legal formalities are required to commence the business. It can be started by own capital. No difficulties arise in day-to-day running of business. The owner enjoys all the profits and bears all the losses. They are directly come into contact with consumers. They render some social services also. They provide employment to some people. They help in distribution of wealth. They understand the likes and dislikes of the customers and supply goods accordingly. They pay rates, taxes and duties to the government. They are in a position to take quick decisions regarding business. They maintain business secrets. Disadvantages of sole trading concerns. Sole trading concerns are not free from some disadvantages. Their capital is limited and they cannot expand the business. Since it is run by a single person, the managerial ability is limited. Group of discussions are always better and effective. All the losses are to be borne by a single person. Life of sole trading concerns may be short. With the death or insolvency of the sole trader, the trading concerns will be closed. Partnership firms. The limitations of sole trading concerns lead to the formation of partnership firms. In these firms, two or more persons join together and carry out the business. Partnership Firms Act was passed in 1932. According to the Section 4 of Partnership Act, the partnership firm is defined as relation between the person who gave agreed to share the profits of business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. The maximum number of partners is fixed to 10 if they carry out the banking business and 20 in case of carrying out generally business. Types of partners. There are several types of partners, but generally we find active or working partners, sleeping partners, nominal partners and minor partners. Active partners. They contribute fixed amount of capital and share profits and losses in proportion to their capital contribution and take active part in carrying out day, the day-to-day affairs of the business. Sleeping partners. They contribute capital but do not take active part in day-to-day transactions of the firms. The profit and losses are shared in proportion to their capital contribution. Nominal partners. They neither contribute capital nor take active participation in day-to-day transactions of the firm. They are not entitled for any share in profit, but they are liable for business losses. Minor partners. These partners are those who have not yet attained the age of 18 years. A minor cannot become a partner, but by mutual agreement of the partners, a minor can be admitted as a partner. The minor partners are eligible for profits, but not eligible for defaults or losses. When a new partnership is started, the minor cannot be admitted. In addition to these types, there are secret partners, limited partners, and partners eligible only for profits. Partnership deed. There shall be a deed of partnership. Generally, it is in writing, duly stamped and signed by all the partners. It differs from firm to firm. It contains all the terms and conditions of the firm. Generally, it contains the name of the firm, names and address of the partners, the address of the firm, nature of business, address of the branches, if any, date of the commencement of business, contribution of capital by each partner, the ratio of sharing profits and losses, duties of each partner, division of work by each partner, the conditions to be followed at the time of admission of new partner, valuation of goodwill at the time of admission of partner or at the time of closing the business. The procedure to be followed whenever differences arise among the partners. Merits of partnership firms. Easy to form. No legal formalities are required for the formation of partnership firms. Even the registration of partnership firm is not compulsory. Therefore, the partnership firms are started easily. More capital. Partnership firms are formed by more than 2 persons, so the capital investment is more. Better efficiency. There are more than one person as partners. Division of labor can easily be adopted, so there is better managerial ability and it increases efficiency. Credit worthiness. The liability of partners is unlimited, so it leads to increase the credit worthiness. Sharing of business loss. All the partners have to share the profits and losses. The loss is not borne by one, but it is shared among all the partners. Secrecy of business. The partnership firms need not publish their accounts. Thus, there is a scope for maintaining secrets of business. Simple dissolution. Partnership firms can be dissolved easily. Any partner can apply for dissolution by giving 14 days notice, or with the consent of all partners it can be dissolved. Demerits of partnership firms. Sometimes the disunity among the partners may hamper business and it leads to disputes. Since the number of partners is limited, the capital contribution is also limited. Liability is unlimited, so it discourages many people to join as partners. Reckless and foolish decisions of some partners may lead to heavy setbacks. Partnership firms lack continuity. The death or insolvency of one partner may lead to the dissolution. It is difficult to transfer the share of partners to others, owing to lack of control by the government and publishing of accounts. Partnership firms cannot gain public support. The secrecy of the business cannot be maintained since there are two or more than two partners. Registration of partnership firms. There is no provision for registration of sole trading concern. The Indian Partnership Act of 1932 provides for the registration of partnership firms, but it is not compulsory. It is left to the discretion of partners. Registration can be made at any time. For the purpose of registration, a statement in the prescribed from Delhi filled with correct particulars must be submitted to the registrar of firms appointed by the government along with the prescribed fees. The registrar, after satisfaction that all the provisions have been complied with, issues a certificate called Certificate of Registration. Advantages of registration. A registered firm can file a suit in the court of law against third party, but it is not possible in the case of unregistered firm. A registered firm can file a case against two other partners against the loans they owe to the firm. However, third parties can file a case against an unregistered firm for the recovery of loans. Any partner can file a case against the firm or other partners for the dissolution of the firm or for the settlement of accounts. Hindu undivided family firms. They are found only in India. They are formed, owned and managed by joint Hindu families in accordance with Hindu law. They are the firms which consist of all the male members of the Hindu family, descendants from a common male ancestor. Only three successive generations of male members, namely sons, grandsons and great-grandsons, acquire the birthright or interest in the ancestral property. The eldest or senior most member of the family manages the business and he is called the Karta, and he is the head of the family. The liability of Karta is unlimited, but the liability of other members is limited to the extent of their share in the business.